Did you know we dropped an album last year? It sounds like this. Lots of synthwavy, outrunny, retrowave, cyberpunk, futuristic, dystopian vibes. It's a bit of a weird thing for a database company to do. So Koppel and I sat down to talk about how this actually happened. Let's get into it.
Okay, so first of all, how did this album happen?
Yeah, so I guess when I started at Supabase, I think we had a YouTube channel. We were kind of just using it as like distribution for little like screen grabs and things. There wasn't really like any kind of brand or any kind of consistency across the videos. So one of the big things I wanted to do when I started was create a like brand song or something that we could use as a stamp or an intro and an outro to all of our videos and keep them consistent. So you knew like that super dope track means this is a super dope Supabase video. And then we needed another track for a live stream intro and outro, and then we needed another one for a launch week. And it just kind of became a bit of an internal joke that we were like working on an album. But then I just decided let's actually do this, and decided to self-appoint myself as the musical director of Supabase. Now there's an album coming out.
So yeah, I've been personally a fan of your music for, well, since you started doing actually that first one. It must have been in launch week 4 or something. It was very early, maybe 5, when you started doing those intros, and I really loved it then. I didn't realize that it would turn into, well, this or even a full song. It was kind of just the intro. You started dropping some hints that you could do more and more, and I think I then gave the community some, or I guess I gave you some social motivation to help. Do you want to share what, the background there and what it was and how this has sort of eventuated?
So you basically publicly stated in a reply to a tweet that you would give Sam, the CEO of PlanetScale, 1% of your equity if I didn't get this album out by the end of the year. So yeah, talk about motivation. We should actually use this for like every feature we launch during launch week. Just like promise equity around to a whole bunch of different people in public. And then like the success of the company is actually on the line if this feature doesn't get finished. But yeah. Obviously, I'm joking. It's been awesome having the support of like both the founders of the company for me to work on music and work on an album. Plus, it gives me, an excuse to buy all of these toys, which you might be able to see around me, because I totally need them for work. And so, yeah, it's been awesome.
I think Sam actually wrote some tweet. I'll have to dig it up and find the original tweet. He wrote something about an album, and it kind of just, the bar kept getting raised until I eventually said, well, I'll give you 1% of my equity. That was a heat at the moment thing. Sometimes on Twitter, I need to take a deep breath, I think. So also, I have listened to a bunch of the songs, and I know there's a few Easter eggs hidden in there. What sort of things should the community look out for in the album?
Yeah, there are a lot of Easter eggs. You're going to have to listen pretty closely and probably listen over and over and over and over again to find all of them. That's very important. Make sure you watch it on the Supabase YouTube channel and get those views up. But a fun one was for the song Logan. I wanted to have this kind of like chanting robots kind of vibe. I wanted them to be like chanting Supabase. I think like rewinding it all the way back, it's inspired by like a chant that's in The Wizard of Oz, I think. Like it goes, and I wanted to take that and have people or robots chanting Supabase to that melody. And so on like a Friday night, I messaged out everyone in the team that I needed some robots or some people to record themselves saying Supabase in that way. And then Monday had a whole bunch of different takes of all these different people across the company to kind of mix together into and make them sound like robots, obscure it a little bit. But yeah, if you're like singing along to the chorus of that song and chanting Supabase, you're literally singing along with the team who actually built Supabase. It's awesome.
I actually didn't realize the link to The Wizard of Oz, and now that you say it, it's so obvious. But when you were making us say it, we didn't actually... You must have auto-tuned us because it was just like Supabase, super, and that's it. And we had to say it 5 times or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't want to give it all away. But yeah, so the melody is what's called a vocoder, which takes like a synth sound and kind of mashes it together with a human voice. So I was able to add the melody without really giving away like what the chant was, which was fun.
Very cool. Where did you learn all of these like different things? Is it just you playing around, or you actually learned it?
Yeah, I guess I've been like in late high school. I got very interested in synthesizers. I was actually like recording bands and doing a bunch of like live sound engineering stuff. And so like throughout high school, I was in like high school bands and I played guitar and drums. And then, over time you get sick of relying on other people, especially musicians, to like turn up or like take the project seriously. And so when I found out about like electronic music where I could be like the whole band, I can use a drum machine to do the drums, I can use a synthesizer to do the bass, and also like a guitar-y kind of lead line. I just loved that idea of not needing to rely on anyone else and being able to do it all myself. So I guess I've been making like synthesized music, different types of electronic music and hip hop for about, I don't know, probably about 12 years or so. And so I guess just over that time, I've picked up lots of little tricks and techniques, which, yeah, it's very fun to sneak in as Easter eggs to the Supabase album.
Very cool that you've sort of self-learned it. And how much of that you mentioned that people aren't turning up? How much of that is because they didn't enjoy the music, and how much of that is just because they don't want to hang out with you, John?
Well, yeah, maybe maybe I should have taken the hint.
Okay, so making music, a great job for loners.
Just like developer advocacy, I can do everything async. I don't need to. No one needs to put up with me in an office. It's fantastic.
Supabase has a real focus on AI, and I've seen some of the visuals of the album that you've released, and they are epic. Especially if people are listening to this or listening to the album on Spotify, they're going to miss out on what I think is actually a big part of the album. So, were there some opportunities to use AI within the visuals? What was the process there?
Yeah, so the robots were very, very helpful on this one. Yeah, as you mentioned, it is like totally an audio visual experience. So the best place you can check it out is the Supabase YouTube channel, because you get that visual aspect along with the videos. But yeah, this all started with kind of wanting to use some prompts to come up with kind of like a theme for each of the songs. And so I used ChatGPT to generate chapters or different points in the story for each song, and then use those prompts to feed into Midjourney, which is another AI tool that you can use to generate images based on a text prompt. And so I generated a bunch of like super vibrant, cool cyberpunk images. So it all has this kind of futuristic, dystopian kind of that kind of vibe of like lots of cities at night with neon lights and rain and stuff like that. So I used Midjourney to generate all of those still images. And then I used another product called Kyber, which can take those still images and combine them with the original prompts and then also the music itself, and actually generate entire video clips. So they kind of look like a flip book kind of animation of a bunch of different like still frames played one after another. But yeah, super cool. So the entire visual aspect of the album is AI generated from the start, like even the prompts using ChatGPT, everything about how it looks, all robots. I actually tried to generate some like melodies or chord progressions using AI initially, so it could be in the music as well. But yeah, it wasn't quite there yet. It was kind of, it didn't sound as cool as the stuff that I was producing. And also it, meant I couldn't justify buying all of these tools to do my job. And so, yeah, the music side ended up being entirely just produced by me, but then the visual aspect, all on the robots.
So what we need the community to do is train a model based on this album, so we can finally replace you, John, the irreplaceable DJ DevRel extraordinaire.
Well, I'm pretty sure we have a soundboard somewhere that replaces me for when my time zone doesn't really match up with the rest of the world. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and it's the most inconvenient time zone to do anything synchronous with anyone else in the world. So we have a soundboard, which I think is now embedded in our community Discord for Supabase. So if you're really missing me, you can type a command to trigger me saying something that I say way too many times in videos, like, let's get into it, or, but until next time, keep building cool stuff. Both of those, high rotation.
Yeah, the perfect intros and outros. Actually, I didn't realize that the entire thing was kind of one big story. What is the story, and like, how did you come up with the story? You just literally prompted ChatGPT to come up with it, or you kind of had an idea yourself? How did you go about that?
Yeah, so I had kind of that vibe. Like, all of the music is very, like I was saying, it's kind of the musical genre is like synthwave or outrun. And then like the visuals that usually go along with that is this kind of like cyberpunky city anime futuristic dystopian kind of look. So I had an idea for the vibe of what I wanted. And so I think the original prompt was something about like a hacker who is trying to fight against the megacorps that have taken over the world and turned it into this like dystopian futuristic society. And I think I wanted there to be like a floppy disk of Supabase that this hacker finds and puts it into a computer, and that's like what saves the world. It took a lot of liberties with that prompt, and it doesn't, you probably wouldn't pick that up from just watching all the way through the videos, but that was where the whole story begun.
Very cool. Very cool. I also started listening to it as a replacement for what's the one? Lo-Fi Girl, Lo-Fi Guy. Well, there's two of them that I alternate between, and actually it's become a direct replacement for those two, which has been pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, they actually launched that second channel while I was working on this album. So yeah, if you don't know, the first one was a lo-fi hip-hop channel that's just streaming like 24 hours on YouTube. And then they did this awesome... It was actually like a little bit of the inspiration of actually doing something like visual and cool for this Supabase album. But yeah, they launched a second channel, which was all about synthwave music. And so it was very like on brand for all of this music. And so I think that was probably on in the background for a lot of the time while I was producing the music for this album. So yeah, definitely an inspiration.
Okay, so you mentioned it was on YouTube. Where else can people find the album?
Yeah, so you should be able to find it basically anywhere you want to listen to music or watch videos. So it should be on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, bunch of different places. If there's somewhere you want to listen to it and it's not there yet, let us know in the comments and I will get it launched there soon. But yeah, as I said before, the best place to watch this is definitely the Supabase YouTube channel because you get that full audiovisual experience. But if you're just looking to put something on in the background while you build your Supabase app, this is the perfect soundtrack to build an app in a weekend and scale to millions. And
we also have a website that people can go to if they forget where to look for it.
We do have a website. If you head over to supabase.productions, this is our brand new microsite dedicated specifically to Supabase music, and you can stream the album from there. So go check out supabase.productions.
What is the future of Supabase.productions? Will it stop with just one album? What more do the community have to look forward to?
Well, during the production of this album, because it's kind of like, because I sit in this room with all of these toys surrounding me, if I need to like export out a video or if I just like need a break from something in between other things that I'm doing, I'll just like quickly like kind of play out a melody and like tweak some stuff, and then I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'll just quickly record that in case I want to use it later. And so when it came to actually like compiling the album, there was like so many ideas that hadn't been fully fleshed out. So all I'm going to say is stay tuned for Supabase 2, but this time don't bet the company on it.
I hear that advice and I reject it outright. So look out for 2024, 2% of the company.
Oh, we're doubling down. Well, to be fair, the only reason this album is actually coming out is because of that social pressure. Otherwise, it would still just be a collection of ideas. So if you want to hear Supabase 2, you got to really encourage Koppel to up the stakes. What is he willing to promise for this sequel album to come out? If you want to learn how to make your own super dope synthy beats like this, then you should totally check out this video right here. It shows exactly which elements you need to produce your own superwave track, and if you just want to hear about all the other cool stuff we're doing at Supabase, then check out this one for a quick overview. But until next time, keep producing cool stuff.